Next, we're going to talk about the while loop. A while loop is a way to repeat a block of code as long as a specified condition is true or truthy. Let me give you an example. Let's say I is equal to 0, and we're going to say while I is less than 5, we use a semicolon to indicate the condition and whatever we want to repeat. We're going to say print I, and then we're just going to update I by increasing it by 1. So what this is going to do is, as long as I is less than 5, we're going to keep repeating this block of code. And again, you can see that this went from I equal to 0, increased it by 1, until while I was less than 5. You can see that it stopped at 4. Other important things to note is that the condition here, I is less than 5, is going to be falsy, because I is equal, it's going to be true because I is equal to 0 is less than 5. So while this is true, then all of this block of code is going to repeat. So let me give you an example of what I mean with this. If I say while 0, this condition is falsy. 0, remember, has a Boolean value of false. So this is not going to ever run. So we're gonna say, you can say print hello, and what you can see is that this runs but never gets executed because this has a falsy value. So there are ways to use this in if statements and conditionals as well, but let me give you an example. So we can say while true, what this means is that this condition will always run. So if I say print I, and I'm going to update I by increasing it by 1, if I run this statement, this never stops because this condition is never going to be falsy. Now I can say something like if I is greater or equal to 8, then I can say break the loop. And break is another statement that we can use inside a while statement. So what that does is that, remember, so it starts at 5 because we had it update here to be equal to I plus 1, so we never reset it. So you can see that this went from 5, 6, and 7. So and it just got out of the loop because we put this if statement in there. Next, we're going to talk about the for loop. The for loop is a way to iterate within items of an iterable object. So let me give you an example. So if I say for I in, and in this place, this is where we need something that is iterable. It can be a list, it can be a tuple, or we can use the range object. So we can, the range function. So we can say for I in range of 5, we can print I, and we can see that these ranges from the value 0, 1, 2, 3, up to 4. It doesn't include the last value here, 5. So that's what a for loop does. It will loop over the iterable that we have. Let me give you another example. So we can say for x in, and we can pass a list. Let's say for x in this list, which is an iterable, we can also say print x. And it will just print the values from that are inside this iterable. They don't have to be numbers, so we can say for x in, and we can pass, let's say, a tuple with the values a, b, and c in there, and what we're going to do is basically print x. And what it will do is just loop over this iterable and print the values that we have. Again, they don't have to be iterables that contain just one single object. We can do something like this. Let's say for x in, and we can pass, let's say, a list, and within the list we can have the elements to be tuples. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5, 6, and we can say print x, and what that will do is print, go over the interval and print the items inside. So this is very is a good way to learn about loops like for. We can also not necessarily have to pass one single item. We can do the same thing. So something like this. Let's say for, let's say I and j, because we have two elements inside here. We can say print I and j. And then what this will do is print the single elements in, within the loop as well.